In this video, I'm going to show you how to make and use folder tracks. Folder tracks are a way of grouping tracks together, and it's another level of control available to you in Pro Tools. And so in the old days, a few years ago, if you wanted to sub-mix tracks, in other words, you have your drums all balanced out, and you have the bed tracks balanced, and you have your vocals balanced, and then you wanted to group those tracks together into sub-mix tracks, and then balance those sub-mixes against each other, you would use aux input tracks, stereo aux input tracks, and you would route the outputs of your tracks manually to those aux input tracks. And that was the standard workflow. In the last couple years, Pro Tools has had a lot of updates, and one of those updates is the inclusion of folder tracks. So let me just show it to you. It's easier than telling. So I'm going to select my kick in. I'm going to shift click on my room track to select the entire range of drums there. And I'm going to right click on one of these tracks. And I'm going to choose Move to New Folder. And this dialog box pops up. And I have two options here. I have a basic folder or a routing folder. Now we're going to use routing folders, but let's just look at the basic folder first. I'm going to hit create, and it created this sort of weird looking empty track with a solo and a mute button and not much else. It's got this folder icon. And then what I can do is if I want to hide those tracks and just fold them up into the folder, I just click on that folder icon. Now the drums are still there, they're not muted or anything, but they're inside this folder track. And if I want to open them, I just click on the folder icon again. Now that's pretty cool, but there's a better way. So I'm going to right click this and choose delete. And then it's asking me if I want to keep the member tracks or delete them, and I definitely want to keep them. So instead of a basic folder track, we're going to look at a routing folder track. So if I choose routing folder, it gives me other options immediately right away. Stereo, definitely want a stereo track. Samples, that's fine. I'm actually going to go ahead and name this drums sub mix. All right. And then this is a very key element, route tracks to new folder. You want to check that on so that you don't have to do manual routing. It's going to save you a lot of time. I'll hit create, and it blinks a lot, and then it has this folder with many more features. First of all, notice the routing here. All of my drum tracks are now going out to a drum submix bus, and that bus is coming in here and then out to the mains. So it's got a volume fader, it's got solo and mute buttons, it's got pan controls, it has inserts and send controls. It's basically like a super track now. I can still fold the drums up. This allows me to apply processing to the entire drum group, and we're going to get into that when we talk about serial compression and maybe other effects that you would want to put on a submix track. Let's add some other submix tracks here. I will click my bed instruments and choose Move to New Folder. And I'm going to call this bed. There it is. And just for the sake of this video, just to make it a little bit more interesting, I'll go ahead and call this leads, even though I probably wouldn't do this in the real mix because these are just really singleton tracks. But why not? I'm going to leave the VCAs out of the folder tracks. You could include them, no problem. If I want to include them, especially because VCAs don't have like any audio routing, it's just a control track, I can slide those in, and you see how this yellow line sort of pops up around the perimeter there. That's telling me that I am nesting that track. Let's do that again there. If I take a track out, I'm unnesting it. That's going to be tough. It's going to try to put it in the other group. All right, there. It's still routed. It didn't automatically change the audio routing or anything like that, but I'm going to put that back in. So now I don't have to look at all those tracks. I can look at just 3 tracks, and assuming that within those groups, those tracks are balanced, now I can balance the groups against each other. And these are called submix groups. Some people might call them stems. This is a good way to make stems if you are doing like remixes, or if you are doing like dance remixes, or if you are remixing the song with different balance levels or whatever. Maybe you are making backing tracks. You have your whole session, and then you can just mute your vocals, right? And bounce that, and now you have the track without the vocals. You can use these folder tracks in a lot of great ways. So very handy to know about folder tracks. Another way you can create folder tracks is through the new tracks dialog box. If I go up here, you can see that routing and basic folder are also options there.